Four pockets full for these bands. Yeah, I be dolo, but I told her bring all her friends, get a check and I spend in advance. Too many baddies, so no, I can't get one a chance. No, hop out the whip and I'm fresh. Don't want your chick, she a mess, got my foot on they neck. Low when they cut my.
Hello and welcome to another video. In this video, I'll be showing you how to replace your rear brake discs and brake pads on a Mercedes CLA. These are all the tools required. This is the step-by-step guide. Firstly, we're going to take off the wheels and we're going to open the brake fluid reservoir, as you can see here. Next, we're going to loosen the brake disc bolt. This is a T30 bolt. Next, we're going to remove the e-brake and turn on the pad replacement mode. Hold the OK and the call button for 5 seconds. Go to pad replacement mode and then press OK. And then you're going to hear this sound. Give it around 10 seconds until it stops. Next, we're going to remove the 13mm bolt in the back. I used a spanner. You might want to use a hammer to slowly loosen the bolt because it's very, very tight. You will also need a 17mm spanner to hold the housing of the bolt, as you can see there, and then loosen up. Again, I'm trying to show you the full process here, just so that you understand exactly how to do this work. Next, we're going to remove the brake caliper and make sure it doesn't hang. What I do is I unclip the brake fluid tube, as you can see here. That should give me more leeway when moving the brake caliper around. Next, we're going to be taking this E18 bolt. It's a very awkward star-shaped bolt. Use some penetration fluid or WD-40. These bolts are very, very hard to loosen up. I had a lot of rust in that region, so it was even harder for me. As you can see, I had so much rust. Even removing the brake pads was a bit difficult. As you can see, they're in a really, really bad condition. I had to add a bit of force. Again, I'm trying to show you the whole process, just so that you know exactly what you're going to face. Most videos cut for all the time and effort it takes to actually do the work, and when you face these issues you get stuck or you think you've done something wrong. That's why I make an active effort to show you exactly everything that I go through when I'm doing this kind of work. Now that we removed the brake house housing, as you can see, the brake pad is nearly empty. As you can see, the brake pads have been pretty worn up. Look at how much rust I got. I had to hammer down my brake disc to remove it. There's also some rust on my heat shield, so I'm going to be cleaning the wheel hub and I'll be spraying my heat shield. So I wire brushed it first and then use brake cleaner. As you can see, it's very satisfying whenever I do this. So I'm going to be painting that so that it protects it from rust in the future. Next, we're going to be retracting the piston. This there is your motor. Make sure to not damage this because it will be very expensive to replace it. So just keep an eye on it. I'm using a C-clamp to do this. So I'm going to use an old pad and then use a C-clamp to push up against it. Or you can use a specialized tool or use something else to push it through. It is pretty tough, so you have to get something to push it for you. Try not using your hand because it's a lot of power. I asked for an extra pair of hands here. I was struggling to find a point to use for my C-clamp. Okay, so that's all retracted. It's probably also a good idea to actually clean off the tip of the piston. And it turned out pretty well. Now we're going to clean the new brake disc with some brake cleaner. There is some oil on there from the manufacturer, so you have to remove that. Make sure to not miss this step. You don't want oil on your brake disc. Next, use some thread locker and put it on the brake disc screw, and then screw it in using your hand. You can use a ratchet, but don't tighten it too much. I'll then use the copper grease on my wheel hub. This is to make sure that no rust forms in the future, and if you change the disc again, it will be an easy job. Again, once you place the brake disc screw, tighten it with your hand. You can use a ratchet, but don't over tighten it. This is only meant to hold the brake disc in place. So these are the new pads. As you can see, there's a lot of meat on them compared to the old ones. Next, I cleaned my caliper bracket using a wire brush and a brake cleaner. I actually also sanded it down because I'll be painting my brake calipers as well. You then place your new brake pad clips. I've had to actually extend mine to fit, so I stretched them using a screwdriver to fit. Next, we're putting back the E18 bolts. Make sure to put a thread locker on them. These bolts need to be very secured. You need to make sure to torque them properly, because because these essentially are what's holding your caliper in place.
And your heart is out of sight. I just wanna feel mine. Hey you, I'm gonna be the one for another one. Hey you.
I must say, this bolt is so inconvenient. I don't understand why Mercedes used it and why they can't just use the normal socket. It's just shaped weird. The grip is not easy. It was such a pain to work with.
You just wanna make sure you're right. I'm gonna be the one for another one. Maybe then you'll know that I was never one. I'm gonna be the one for another one. I don't wanna feel you tonight. Got me. Got me.
Next, use a torque wrench and torque your E18 bolts to spec. I used 115 for mine, 115 Newton meters. Next, I got the new pads and I put copper grease on the edges. This reduces vibration. And then once you insert it, make sure you use a twist method. So you put it in sideways and then you twist it in. You can't just place it flat in. I suppose this is part of the mechanism to keep it nice and tight. I actually haven't seen a video explaining this, and I've had to figure it out. It did take me a little while. Because as you can see, if you try to place it flat, it won't go in. As you can see there, it has to go in with a twist. Next, you just place the brake caliper again, and then you can use the new bolts provided with your new pads, or reuse the old ones. The torque spec that I use for this one is 28 Newton meters.
I don't wanna see you. I don't wanna hear you tonight. I don't wanna fight you. You don't wanna know if I feel alright.
As I mentioned, I then just painted my brake calipers. I'll put a tutorial in my description, but it turned out looking amazing. Once you put the wheels on as well, it just looks so good. This is probably the best time to paint your calipers since you already have them out. Okay, and this is the final picture. Thanks guys, see you in the next one.